This is the Radio Stuff Podcast, episode 44, a weekly show about radio for radio. I'm Larry Gifford, programmer, consultant, and talent coach at LarryGifford.com.
I'm Deb Slater, personality and producer, DebSlater.com. There's also a great chat on the Radio Today podcast with our friends Trevor Dan and Graham Mack. They've both been guests here of the Radio Stuff. Graham is the program director and breakfast show host at 106 FM in Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire, thank you, which just switched formats from our beloved Jack FM to Bob FM.
From Jack to Bob, why was that?
Well, the owners, which is Shadow Radio Holdings, decided that they wanted to go on to DAB. It was a great way to grow really quickly. We're going on to DAB, and there was a dispute, and the dispute was over whether we would have the exclusive rights to the name Jack. It's difficult to say the word Jack because we've stopped ourselves saying it, and there's a fine of £1 if you say it in the building.
I can see one. Here's a pound coin on the studio table in front of me.
So it seems a bit a bit strange saying it over the. Well, anyway, there was a dispute over the exclusivity because you pay a license and you get the exclusive rights to the name. In our case, in Hertfordshire, on FM. But DAB is a whole different deal.
It's a bigger area, isn't it?
Much bigger. We're now in Herts, Beds, Bucks, Northamptonshire. And by the end of the year, you'll be able to drive all the way from Milton Keynes to Heathrow and get us if you've got DAB in the car. So we decided that the easiest thing to do was... Well, we asked the listeners first. We told them there was a problem. Their suggestion was, well, why don't you just change the name? If it's just a word.
Let's hear that clip from your opening morning when you talk about this.
Over the past few weeks, hundreds of names have been suggested.
Like Jill and Pulse, Phoenix and Gift, BobFM, Community, Pump House Radio, OMG FM, Stag, Austin's, Alan, Steve, Park Radio, Buzz, Saffron and Sherbet, and Ernie and Radio Gaga, Hedgehog FM, Shire and Bacon, Punch, Good, Tracks and Revolution, Charlie, Amber, Rabbit and Kickstart FM, Rebecca, Sky, Immortal, Music and Sax, Sexy FM, we want to be free. Freedom, Smart, Duke, Smile, Jolene, Forge, Tilly, Easy, and Smack.
I can tell you now that a new name for this radio station has been selected.
There are some good names there, you know, Graham. Some folks might say that Bob isn't the best of them. Why did you settle anyway on Bob, which is a name that's used in other places around the world, isn't it?
We thought it was a good name. We thought it was a friendly name. We can't think of a bad Bob. All the Bobs that we've heard of are nice Bobs or friendly Bobs. And also, as well as that, when we did some research into the history of Jack, it showed us that Bob came first. This kind of radio playing a massive playlist in Canada, from what we can work out, started first, and then 2 years later, Jack came along. So we thought, well, that'd be kind of fitting as well.
So you've swapped Jack the Ripper for Bob the Builder.
Yes.
That's your zeitgeist, right?
Absolutely.
I'm with you. So Jack famously is playing what they want.
Yes.
What are you doing?
You'll hear all sorts of stuff.
You'll hear all sorts of stuff. That's a bit similar, though, isn't it?
Well, there's no duplication of any of the words.
Fine.
And it's telling you what you'll hear rather than what we're playing, which I think is more important.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that little last phrase there.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Wow.
Radio stuff, you'll hear all sorts of stuff. We should have come up with that first.
We should have. Oh, well.
So, two of my favorite people in across the pond, what I think is really interesting is they had a point and a purpose for the format change. It wasn't because they wanted to change the music or the content. They wanted a bigger reach, and they didn't have the right to have the name Jack on DAB.
And I thought it was great that they allowed the listeners to take part in that. Like, here's our deal.
Yeah.
Here's what we have going. And then, to
really, I mean, I think we could all agree it should have been bacon.
I think so too. Bacon FM. I love that. Give me more. I want more.
Give them both.
Everybody's voting for the friendly voice of radio, the people's choice. East Coast, West Coast, in between, it's radio that makes us see.
Our top story today. When do you know if a radio stunt has gone too far or gone wrong? In the UK, Scotland is taking a vote for independence, which triggered BobFM host Graham Mack in England to do this.
Hang on. I'm gonna stop this song. I'm gonna stop it.
What's going on?
Well, the Scots have been winding me up this week. You know, we're so close to the end of the United Kingdom as we know it, and then we have to play that, Scottishness. He says he'll walk 500 miles, but come on, a lot of them don't want anything to do with England. You don't want anything to do with England? After all we've done for you. For 300 years. We've put up with your bagpipes, your spicy eggs, your hairy cattle, your short-ass ponies, your men in skirts, and the crankies. You ungrateful bunch of whiskey-swigging, haggis-munching caber tossers. From now on, this is it, right? From now on, this radio station is banning anything Scottish, including the Proclaimers. So all Scottish artists off the playlist.
You can't just ban Scottish artists.
I'm doing it now. I'm going to go through the playlist. Anything that's Scottish is coming off. We're going scot-free on BobFM.
So the reaction on Twitter has been a bit nasty, with characterizations from classless to racist. The Radio Trades picked up the story yesterday. It quickly became one of the more clickable articles in recent history. Is it offensive or is it amusing? Well, let's talk about it with Graham Mack, PD and morning guy at BobFM. Hi, Graham. Welcome back to the radio stuff.
Nice to be back with you, Larry. Congratulations on a great podcast, by the way. Love it.
Oh, thank you. Now, where did this idea come from?
Well, it was one of those things that, when you're talking around the office and you're saying, what's this with this? Scottish independence. What do they want independence for? Why can't they? For 300 years, they've been part of the United Kingdom. Well, why do they want this? Surely it's all going to cost us money, because surely two individual countries can't be run as efficiently as one. Someone's going to have to pay for that. And in the end, it was me who said, why don't we just ban Scottish music? And then the general manager, who also happens to be the owner of the radio station, went, yeah. And so when you get that, then you can move on, because without that, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, and so it was one of those things. It was just chat in the office, and away we went.
So what kind of reaction were you expecting?
Well, I knew it would be unpopular north of the border. I didn't know how vicious some of the Scottish nationalists would be on social media. So we were expecting a few problems there. We thought that there might be a few people who were Bob listeners might be upset, and there were a couple, but really nothing major. Yeah, we were expecting to get noticed. Really, to be totally honest, we were expecting BobFM to get noticed, and that's what it's all about.
And are you happy with the results?
Yeah, I'm not happy about some of the names I've been called on Twitter, but I'm happy with the results in that we've definitely been noticed. We're in, a couple of Scottish newspapers.
We're on the BBC Scotland website, which is kind of what you want. And there's a lot of people talking about the radio station and is it the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. We've tapped into the biggest story in the UK right now. Scottish independence. Yesterday's Mail Online, the first 8 stories were all about Scottish independence. So, yeah.
So, how do you feel about the stunt a couple of days into it?
It's going good. We need to keep it going up until the election. The election happens on a week today. So we just need to keep it alive and keep it going till then. We've also announced that this morning we announced that if Scotland decide to stay part of the United Kingdom, that the following morning's breakfast show will be nothing but Scottish music as a celebration. So
now, was that in the original plan, or is that a reaction to the feedback you've been getting?
It wasn't in the original plan, but there wasn't much of an original plan other than banning Scottish music, to be fair. But it just seemed like the right thing to do, after the reaction. Yeah, I suppose it was a reaction to the reaction.
So what else are you telling your listeners and maybe even advertisers who are kind of squirmish about what you're doing?
Well, it's funny you should say that because, the Scottish nationals that have been nasty to us on social media have also taken it further. They have contacted advertisers. Advertisers in the hospitality industry have had nasty things written about them on TripAdvisor. And so those advertisers have been in touch and have said that, they're a little bit worried. And so it's just been a job of reassuring them that, just because some people in Aberdeen are upset about this, it doesn't mean that the people who listen to Bob FM, that the ear holes that you're buying when you buy your advertising are any less valuable than they were before we did the stunt. And so far, we haven't had anybody drop advertising as a result, even though they are, you've seen the nasty tweets I've been getting. Well, the advertisers have been getting that too.
Are you concerned you may be hearing from Ofcom?
We probably will hear from Ofcom. We've been told many times in email, in voice messages that have been left on the office phone. They don't like ringing the on-air phone, funny enough, but they leave they leave messages on the office phone saying that they reported us to Ofcom and the police. I don't expect us to hear from the police, but I would imagine Ofcom will demand to the audio from the stunt and other audio around it, and we'll have to send that to them and see what they say. But I would be very surprised if we don't hear from Ofcom.
So what do you say to the people who are calling you these names and calling you a racist and a xenophobe and all these things? How do you respond to those criticisms?
Well, they've got the freedom to say that, and really, if I said something that offended them and they were offended, well, I can't argue with that. I mean, if I said something and you were offended, well, I can't say you weren't. You were, and I have to say, well, I'm really sorry. That wasn't my intention to offend you. My intention was to get some notice for the radio station. It's a publicity stunt, and anybody that enjoyed it, my intention was to make them laugh and talk about us and have fun with it. So you can say what you like. The intention was not racist or, the intention, it was a publicity stunt for a local radio station.
All right, so Graham, let's think about this from a couple weeks from now when this is all blows over and you can sort of digest what's going on. Let's imagine what some of the lessons might be that we can take away from this moving forward.
First lesson, before you do anything like this, have a meeting with all of the staff in the radio station, including engineers, cleaners, anybody who is likely to pick up and answer a telephone at any time of the day or night, and tell them that if they get somebody extremely abusive on the other end of the phone, to merely ask for their phone number and pass the phone number on to the program director, who will deal with it. Have that meeting before you do anything.
What happened?
Oh, nothing major happened, but people get upset. If you get someone who's maybe, young, maybe female, feels vulnerable in a radio station, takes a call, and the person on the other end of the phone is as abusive as you've read on the tweets that have been sent to me personally, they get really upset and freaked out and don't know what to do and all the rest of it. You need to have that conversation. Just say, take the number, pass it on to the program controller.
Great advice. Great advice. All right, Graham, well, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you're spinning a bunch of Scottish tunes in a week.
I hope we are. Thank you very much, Larry.
All right, thanks. So that's the Radio Stuff podcast this week. You can email the show at radiostuffpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to read my blog at larrygifford.com. I know a lot of you have, and you're sharing the posts. There's a big hot post up there right now. It's getting some traction about radio's spot problem and the need for a new revenue-generating idea. Plus, you can watch the new Ask Larry video blog. I answer 3 questions about radio on video every week. It's all at larrygifford.com. And think of me if you're in the need of a radio consultant or a talent coach. Find more radio stuff at radiostuffpodcast.com. Have fun, be creative, support each other, and share your radio stuff.